The Senate Chairman on local content, please put your hands together for him that comes to also give his little message.
Permit me to specially recognize my colleagues who are members of the Senate Committee on Local Content, seated in this room. I start with Senator Joel-Onowakpo, Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on Local Content. Please stand up for recognition. The next is Senator Abdul Mengi, Member, Senate Committee on Local Content. Next is Senator Sahara Group, Ali, stand up for recommendation. And finally, the last but not the least, Senator Victor OFR. First, I want to thank God for granting me the privilege to stand before you, before industry operators and regulators this day, to express my deep concerns regarding the systemic failure in adhering to the promotion of local content in Nigeria. Secondly, my sincere appreciation to the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is providing the much needed leadership for our great country. Permit me also to mention the invaluable contribution of the National Assembly for providing the enabling legislative environment for our dear country, ably led by the President of the Senate, the Chairman of the National Assembly, His Excellency Godswill Obadu, GCON, who has asked me to extend his warm regards to this forum. It is a privilege to join you at this year's practical Nigerian Content Forum, a gathering that has matured into the central marketplace for ideas, collaboration, accountability in the local content ecosystem. I thank the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board for sustaining this platform and for inviting stakeholders to deepen a dialogue that's essential to our nation's industrial future. The theme of this year's gathering, securing investment, strengthening local content, and scaling energy production, will not have come at a time more critical. It speaks directly to the challenges and the opportunities before us as we seek to consolidate our gains in local content and reposition Nigeria's energy sector for sustainable growth. I will confine myself to speaking about the strengthening local content, because I know there are other people who will speak about how to secure investment and how to scale production. I'm very happy because this year's discourse intends to address the gap in local content development in Nigeria. But sadly, that after 65 years of the discovery and exploration of crude oil in Nigeria, and after the enactment of the Logic Act 2010, we are still far behind in local content development in Nigeria. The Senate Committee on Local Content reaffirms its unwavering support to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to the empowerment of Nigerian workers, the expansion of decent jobs, job opportunities, and the localization of economic benefits across the oil and gas, science, engineering, and broader industrial sectors with the recent announcement of the Nigerian First policy. As the legislative oversight body driving the compliance with Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act, Executive Order Number 5, and the Nigerian First policy, we are intensifying efforts to continue to ensure that the Nigerians are not bystanders, but key players and beneficiaries in their own economy. At the center of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President lies the Nigerian workers. This address is both an affirmation of our purpose and a direct invitation to the IOCs and the NOCs to join forces with the committee in long-term partnership designed to deepen local content enforcement and create meaningful job opportunities for millions of Nigerians. Nigerian Local Content Development Framework is built on 3 pillars: the Logic Act of 2010, the Presidential Order number 5 of 2018, the Nigerian First Policy. The Nugent Act, one of the most transformative laws for economic nationalism, aims to ensure that Nigerians are prioritized in employment, procurement, and service delivery. Section 28 to Section 27 of the Act mandates operators to submit and implement employment and training plans that ensure Nigerian nationals occupy roles across all levels of management. I want to quote, for each of these operations, the operator shall submit to the board a succession plan for any position not held by Nigerians. This is very clear, succession plan. At the end of 4 years period, the position shall become Nigerianized. That's the position of the law. The truth again is sad that through our oversight function and through our whistleblower efforts, we've come to realize that companies like Chevron, who had a procurement director as a Nigerian, who retired and now recruiting an expatriate to take over that position. That's not the intent of the law. We've written to Chevron also to provide details before we move on to our oversight function. The Executive Order number 5, localizing procurement and technology for workers' prosperity, signed into law by President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, Executive Order number 5, is a landmark policy directive that extends local content enforcement beyond oil and gas into science, technology, engineering, and other procurement-heavy sectors. The goal is to promote Nigerian professionals, Nigerian goods, Nigerian services in all public contracts. The Executive Order Section 1 states, all procuring authorities shall give preference to Nigerian companies and firms in the award of contracts and ensure that where expertise is lacking, procuring entities will give preference to foreign companies and firms with a demonstrable and verifiable plan for indigenous capacity development. This is a bold nationalistic policy that will reduce capital flight, create jobs, and stimulate local industries. For the Nigerian workers, it means more than projects. It means more projects were awarded to companies that employ Nigerians, source raw materials locally, and transfer skills. As the chairman of the Senate Committee on Local Content, I have the commitment of my members. It's not limited to employment numbers. We are equally interested in improving the welfare, workplace safety, long-term career viability of Nigerian workers. Section 35 to Section 39 of the Nugent Act mandates operators to invest in training, research, and human capital development. These provisions are not ornamental. They are actionable legal standards. I truly want to talk about strengthening local content. These provisions needs to be adhered in full. When we give waivers made by operators in the industry, we hurt ourselves more because the accruing additional benefits that will come with sticking with the law will be missed in that process. All operators shall employ only Nigerians in their junior and intermediate cadre, Section 35. An operator shall carry out a program and make expenditure for the promotion of education, attachment, training, research, and development in Nigeria. I know that the NCDF with the oil companies are doing a lot of training, but you train them and you drop them. They go back home. What is the purpose of the training? The training is to make sure that you give them opportunity to participate in the industry. That foster the growth of businesses, promote job creation, and develop critical assets and skills. And the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board plays a vital role in ensuring that the intent of the NOGIP Act is realized. To achieve these benefits, collaboration between the community and NCDF is essential, as well as work closely with NCDF to ensure that the provision of the NOGIP Act are implemented effectively. The committee will not only provide oversight, but it will also support the board in the efforts to develop and implement policies that promote local content development. In addition to our collaboration with the board, we are engaging with other stakeholders, including operators, service providers, and local businesses. We have, among other things, requested briefings from the board on the collection and disbursement of the Nigerian Content Fund. Also, ensure that the international air companies and their linkage comply with existing local content laws and regulations. It's very sad to note at this point that in the process of collection of information, many IOCs and NOCs have not contributed to that fund. In fact, it is good to mention names. We wrote to NCDF to provide us with details of all the companies who have complied with the NCDF fund. But I'm sad to let you know that there are companies that have not contributed anything to the fund since 2015. And we have it on record from NCDF, so it's not a secret. Like the Sahara Group have not contributed a single dime. Have never contributed a single dime to that fund. And that is a complete abuse of the law. A complete abuse. How do you expect the NCDF to perform its statutory role if we don't contribute to the fund? We are currently investigating that, and we'll take it up at the right time. NCDF, thank you for providing the information. And like I've always assured you, this state committee on local content will work closely with you to make sure that the right thing is done. Consequently, in recent months, the committee has received a number of complaints from both oil and non-oil sector operators regarding poor compliance with these provisions. Issues around contract delivery, workforce development, local sourcing, ACD implementation, and technology transfer. We are also seeing delays in development of fabrication capacity, engineering capability, and local content, local manufacturing potentials. In the course of our exercise, we have come to also realize that companies in Nigeria, locally owned companies in Nigeria, have developed capacity for fabrication welding, who are ready to employ Nigerians. But sadly, a lot of those companies are not patronized by the IOCs. We will investigate why they are not being patronized. It is sad. It is very, very sad. As a committee, we have started a comprehensive review of these concerns. We are examining Nigerian content plans, waivers granted, compliance frameworks submitted by companies and agencies. Wherever there are gaps, we will engage. Wherever there is negligence, we will act. And wherever the law is being ignored, we will correct it. Our goal is to make sure the law is respected by everyone, and that both Nigeria and the operators can thrive in a fair, well-regulated environment. We will ensure that all operators have the enabling environment to do their work. We will ensure that NCDF fulfills its responsibilities. Overall, we will make sure that Nigerians benefit in terms of employment, opportunities, skills, business, business growth, and genuine participation in the value chain. There's a new thing we have also observed. Because of the NCDF law, the Logic Act. You know what the oil companies do these days? They incorporate a Nigerian company, put a Nigerian as the MD, but it does not, it's still owned by them. So they pass those contracts to those companies as if it's a Nigerian company. I want to appeal to any Nigerian who is being used as a stooge to stand in for IOCs to desist from that, because you are not helping the country. You are not helping the country in any way. You are trying to circumvent the purpose of the law. The law is to create a level playing ground for everybody in Nigeria and for them to benefit from their God-given wisdom. This is the work we have started, and this is the work we will continue with firmness, balance, and fairness. Nigeria has entered a new phase of local content compliance enforcement. For years, the law has been clear. The Logic Act, the Presidential Order 5, and the Nigerian First Policy were enacted to ensure that Nigerians participate actively and benefit meaningfully from the wealth generated in our economy. I want at this point to advise the Ghana sister agency that please be vigilant. Be very, very vigilant. Because for over 65 years, we have been trying to manage local content development. Please don't fall into that trap. Please tap from what we are suffering now and correct it in your own place. The intention was not ambiguous. The mandate was not optional. And today the time for half measure is over. As I have said repeatedly, we are moving from paper compliance to real, measurable, verifiable enforcement. I want to see a situation whereby we can say in clear text that 1,000 Nigerians have taken over expatriate positions. I want to see clear text. Over 10,000 expatriates working in our places. We can say 1,000 has been taken over based on the readiness training that we have done. That's a clear, measurable. Where we are giving 100% contracts to foreigners. Now, some percentage have been given verifiable. I'm not interested in percentage of 65, I include 65, no. And instead, I'm going to ask you, I want to specifically ask you to provide details that make sure that 65% local content development that we have had. Because it's not outside, it's only in paper. It's not outside, I'm not feeling it. So I want to say that. This is about fairness, discipline, and national interest. We must not take our eyes away from that. It's about national interest. The laws were made for national interest. But partnership cannot mean permissiveness. Cooperation cannot mean compromise of the law. We want investors to try, but not at the expense of Nigerian jobs. I don't think so. That's the best way to go. And not at the expense of Nigerian capacity. No. Not at the expense of Nigerian companies or the Nigerian economic sovereignty. No, that's not the intention of the law. The laws are clear, and the laws must be obeyed.
Yes, sir.
Over the past months, the Committee on Local Content has taken decisive actions. We have written to operators, and some of the operators have refused to respond. It is sad. That cannot happen in anywhere in the world, especially in the developed world. Like the State Committee on Local Content writes to you, and you are not providing the information. We are going to get to the root of all that. And if you are in this hall, and we have written to you and you are not responded, please do yourself a favor to respond to the inquiries that you are asked. Please, I'm begging. Digital operators, IOCs, and other oil companies and NCDF demanding full disclosure and submission of critical information and documents. Where there are gaps, inconsistencies, or red flags, we will summon operators and regulators. Where investigative hearings are necessary, we will conduct them. Work has commenced, and let me assure you, we will not let up. We are also collaborating with the Nigerian Labour Congress to address these abuses and shame companies who are willfully undermining and shortchanging the Nigerian citizens from benefiting from the intent of all the laws and the presidential orders in our country. One of the most abused areas of the compliance has been the Human Capital Development Fund, the PNC Forum. The Nugget Act mandates that 1% to 3% of the value of every oil and gas project above 1 million must be dedicated to capacity development for Nigerians. I want to know how that fund has been used from 2010 to 2025 and who has participated. It is a requirement of the law that should be put aside for developing capacity. I want to know, the Minister of Petroleum, Minister of State for Petroleum, you are the chairman of the NCDF Council. I want to know how that fund has been used. We're interested in knowing. This provision is not decorative. It is not aspirational. It is not voluntary. It is personal development. This is how nations view the engineering, fabrication, welding, geological, and high-tech expertise needed for the future. Everyone has a role and will hold everyone accountable. The operators must obey the law and prioritize Nigerians. The NCDF must perform its regulatory duties and with integrity and consistency, and will be checking them. The Senate committee will exercise vigorous oversight to ensure a conducive business environment and strict compliance with Nigerian content requirements. Local contractors and citizens must engage honestly and responsibly. And the Nigerian public must use the platforms we have provided, our portals, our emails, and our hotlines to report violations. Our portal is www.sniteshermanlocalcontent.ng. Portal again, www.sniteshermanlocalcontent.ng. Emails at complaints@sniteshermanlocalcontent.ng. Another email is whistleblowers@sniteshermanlocalcontent.ng. Telephone numbers are 0805 093 4767. I repeat again the number 0805 093 4767 and 0805 1022 When you call, when you send your emails, when you post anonymously in our portals, we will attend to it. We will attend to it, we will publish it, we will invite the parties concerned to also give their own side of their story. This is how a fair, balanced, and a prosperous ecosystem can be built. Let me reaffirm the commitment of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, President Joel-Onowakpo Thomas, in growing local capacity. Growing local capacity is a sure way to creating employment for our teeming graduates and artisans. As industry operators, we cannot blame the federal government for the unemployment when we are the one aiding and abetting those who are determined to bypass the law. We cannot. Every day we say that there are no jobs in Nigeria, people are moving out of the country. And the jobs, the little jobs that we have, we cannot give it to our own people. So what are we doing to ourselves? And the people who are buying out of this country, they are not going to those countries to take over their jobs. They take over the leftover jobs. Why are we giving our best out? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. We complain every day. We complain every day. We are having a brain drain now. People are leaving the country every day. But we are producing graduates every day. And we have an industry that can take everybody. We cannot blame the federal government. Today you see that someone say, President is not giving us jobs. We cannot blame him when we are the ones, the operators, aiding and abetting them. We all have a shared responsibility. We have to actually be seen to support this government initiative to create massive employment for our people. If we give jobs to our people, we will in one way reduce the insecurity in the country. Everything is tied together. When somebody is gainfully employed, you won't have time to be taking it back, creating violence. And idle mind is safe, is the devil's workshop. We should create employment for our people. This is also my commitment and the commitment of the committee. Never again will just make for our people be outsourced to expatriates. Never. Never. NCDF, never. We want to see your plans. We want to see. And the waivers. Please, I will beg you. Waivers giving, who is benefiting, on what basis? Please, we want to see. Let me conclude with this assurance. Don't worry, you have 3 days, I will leave soon. Let me conclude with this assurance. We will continue this work with firmness and transparency. Please, rest assured that we will be very transparent. We will ensure that local content is not a slogan, but a lived economic reality. I want to assure Nigerians that we will safeguard the interests of every stakeholder, both foreign and local. We will strengthen partnership, uphold the law, and drive inclusive growth. Nigeria must benefit. Nigerian companies must benefit. Nigerian workers must benefit. This is our mandate. This is our responsibility. And that is what we will continue to do without hesitation and without compromise. It is when everyone obeys the law that we can truly be said to strengthen local content and remitting in Nigeria. But if we pay lip service, we are just wasting our time. We'll come here, this is the 14th. This is the 14th. This is the 14th. Projects or whatever it is to say that we will talk. Thank you and God bless you.